Chapter 2: Source of History. In this chapter, we will learn about archaeological sources, literary sources, books and paper records, need to preserve sources, job of a historian and of an archaeologist. There are many people who study the past and tells us about it. They study various objects from the past to know about them. These objects are known as the sources of history. Historical sources are the foundation to understand a particular era back in time. The sources of history can be divided into two groups: archaeological sources and literary sources. Archaeological sources. Archaeology means the study of the past. Archaeological sources include inscriptions, monuments, coins, artifacts, and seals. Literary sources. Literary sources are texts written on various materials. People in ancient times wrote on the bark of trees, palm leaves, leather, and wooden tablets. These written texts give us information regarding the way of life of the people in ancient times. Literary sources can be broadly divided into three categories: religious and secular writings, biographies and autobiographies, and accounts of foreign travelers. Religious and secular writings. Writings that deal with religions are called religious literature. The four Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, and the epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, highlight the rich Indian culture and traditional values followed in ancient India. Similarly, the Jatakas and Tripitakas of the Buddhists and the Angas and the Purvas of the Jains also give us many historical facts. Literature that are not religious are called secular. Poems, plays, accounts of foreign travelers, and works in the field of politics and science are included in this category. Accounts of foreign travelers. The accounts of Fahian and Yuan the Indica of Megasthenes, and the Arthashastra of Kautilya give us information about the lifestyle, kingship, and ideas of people during ancient period. Biographies and autobiographies. A biography is the story of a person's life written by somebody else. For example, the great Mughal ruler Akbar could not read and write. His life story was written by Abul Fazl, who was a historian in Akbar's court. The name of his biography is Akbarnama. An autobiography is the story of a person's life written by that person, himself or herself. For example, the Mughal ruler Babur wrote the story of his life. His autobiography is known as Baburnama. Biographies and autobiographies tell history about the rulers, their kingdoms, the battles they fought, and the religions they follow. Historians and archaeologists. Historians study the past by using the sources of evidence which archaeologists have discovered. They collect information from various sources and study them in a methodical manner. Then they recreate the past. Their work helps us to understand how people in the past lived. Archaeologists study the past by digging and restoring artifacts from ancient ruins. For this, they do a lot of field work, that is, they work on the sites. They study history through material remains like monuments, ruins of buildings, artifacts, weapons, furniture, pottery, coins, and jewelry. So it can be said that they find out physical evidences of history. Need to preserve sources. We learn about the past only through the sources of history. Every source is precious as it can tell us a lot of things. Archaeologists and historians get a picture of the people and events of the past by studying these resources. So we all need to look after historical resources. The Archaeological Survey of India, established in 1961, is responsible for conservation and preservation of historical monuments and buildings. Thank you.